All right, this is going to be me giving my insight into Bitcoin in the next month or two. It could also be short term, but mainly it's based on Catalyst. However, I do want to talk about what I'm seeing in spot volumes and open interest here. So, to start off, we're going to start with open interest. Right now, it's relatively flat. Nothing's happening in my eyes. I don't see anything. We front ran the 667,000 level. After that, I'll put my views on the chart later on. But right now, we're just looking at internals. Spot volumes are decreasing, which is not a good sign when price is increasing. So that's also putting in a bearish thesis here. And then you also have liquidations that are flat. So there's not really any capitulation or nothing happening in the moment. But if we go into the actual view of the chart here on TradingView, I can explain a lot of things here. But it's going to be easier to color code it. So let me do orange is going to be the Fed. And we have blue as the ocean for the Clarity Act. So let's dive into this. To begin, I am bearish. Now, I do see a short-term pump potentially running up, taking out this 67 liquidity pool, and potentially probably going 70 if it can to stretch into this 0.50 area on the fib. That's kind of what I'm anticipating. The only hurdle you guys have to get through in Bitcoin is you have the Fed, which is at this time around, oil is $92, which is not a good sign for him. And Warsh is most likely probably going to hike rates in the next meeting, but there's a 40% chance almost that he can hike in this meeting coming up, which is, I believe, Wednesday. Yeah, 29? Yeah, 29. And then within this 3 to 7 in August, you have the Clarity Act vote. So it's a lot of movement's going to be happening in both markets. However, Bitcoin's going to be hit by the Clarity Act movement. So within this area, we can expect a sweep potentially of this relative equal highs at 67, and then we drop down to take out the 58 low. And if we go into the monthly, my target is around 52. 52, 48, 47 ish. I do believe it's going to drop lower, but for what is this? Yeah, for August, September ish, I could see it dropping down to 48. We have data from, what was it, May? Where's May? May. You guys know what happened in May? Because this is also good information. May, I think it was 11 to 13, or 13 to 15 or something like that, I believe it was. This was also a Clarity Act vote, and then we just topped out and dropped. And how much did we drop? We dropped relatively 28%, well, 27%. So, can we expect something similar to Bitcoin at that point? We are inside this fair value gap on the weekly right here. Potentially in the monthly, you can create a fair value gap, and then we run into it potentially. And that would be for August. So you close here, you run this, and then after that, you can drop. Okay, looking at the daily, we have this fair value gap here, which is holding. And this is where I expected price to do this. This is where I expected price to do. Now we close, oh no, we already closed. We have time to actually run up and take this now. Intel earnings was good. Markets could have a little dead cat bounce here into the Fed. And then after that, you sweep all this, and then you go down with the Clarity Act being non-negotiated. That's what I see. If you also want to say anything, you also have the dollar to watch. This is my old chart of dollar. I'm not going to get into it too much, but this is mainly about Bitcoin. But as you guys know, dollar going up means Bitcoin goes down. And I'm bullish dollar. Dollar is quite bullish. With the Fed hiking rates, dollar can honestly run up to 105, I believe. You also have this small, I believe this is a monthly. Yeah, this is a monthly target. You have this area right here, which also basically looks like Bitcoin, if you think about it. This is relative equal highs right here off of this January or June high. And this high is at basically 102. So at 102, this gets swept, this gets taken, and then this puts pressure on equities and Bitcoin. And then you also have this fair value gap, and you can also do this. So let me put this here. You have this order block. Like it's bullish. I don't know what else to say here on the dollar. It's quite easy to see that it's bullish. Now, what about the Fed coming up on Wednesday? How is that going to be? I think he's probably going to hold rates. I don't think he's going to raise rates. I don't believe so. If he does, markets are going to have to price that in. I don't think they've priced that in correctly yet. I do think he's going to raise rates in September, though, coming up. And the other thing would be that oil is at 92 now. The war is still going on. We're in a massive debt spiral. And the yields are just running up like nothing at all. Let me look at where's my yields? We got 10-year yield. And we're here. Now, I had this play right here where it was Japan would sell US bonds and the markets would drop at around this level. This is just like a tinfoil hat moment. I do think they might do that still. Maybe they'll do it up here. I'm not too sure when they would want to, since JPY is just absolutely destroyed. But there's also that potential that Japan is just a lingering black swan for us due to the carry trade. Again, this is supposed to be about Bitcoin. I don't know why I'm ranting on about that. However, it does play into the fact that Bitcoin is still bearish. I don't see why anyone want me buying here in such a terrible environment. Like, nothing to me is bullish in a sense that, sure, you have the AI chips and everything going up, but I don't think it's sustainable enough to counter a war, inflation, and everything above. So yeah, if you guys like it, drop me a comment. If you guys want to see any other types of stocks for me to look at the end of the videos, I'd be more than happy to. Yeah, thanks for watching.